I've been meaning to record a video for a while now, but dental school has been pretty overwhelming. I'll try to keep this brief because I've been receiving a lot of questions lately about interviews. So I'm gonna give you guys like a quick rundown about what's been going on lately, and then I'll try to get to the interview questions. I started school. I missed the first couple of weeks of classes because I had COVID. I tried to film it and I just haven't had the time to edit the video. And it's just been kind of like playing catch up because I had COVID and I started already on not so great of a note and trying to catch up. Classes are really starting to pick up quickly, and yeah, it's just kind of juggling everything, and I just haven't had enough time to really devote to YouTube. So I think what I'm going to be doing from now on is just making like informative videos that are helpful for incoming dental students or whatever it is, like pre-dental students. That might be the most helpful because I just don't have enough time to make like weekly videos or anything like that. But given all of that, I'm going to talk about my experience in interviewing with Maryland. And from talking to other dental students in my class, it's been a little different, their experiences for interviewing, or different than my experience for interviewing. So I was invited, I applied pretty early on in the cycle. I applied like June 3rd, I think, like a couple days into the cycle. And I heard back about my interview on August 30th. And I was set to interview on September 30th. And I got accepted on December 1st. I had my interview over Zoom. They sent me a link to the Zoom meeting and a rundown for the schedule for that day. So the first, I'll post it right here, but I'm gonna try to go off of memory. If not, if I'm saying this incorrectly, just read this. So the first thing that they did was they had a financial aid review, and they just kind of went over basic things. You can find the PowerPoint online actually, but just kind of going over the basics of financial aid. I wouldn't necessarily say that was accurate, so take that with a grain of salt, because the numbers that you'll see on your tuition, if you do get accepted here, are gonna be different. And I do have another video where I covered my, like, how to do financial aid for Maryland. The second thing is, we had like a tour of the school, and it was a pretty quick tour. It was this PowerPoint slideshow, so they didn't actually walk us around the campus. So it was just kind of a PowerPoint slideshow. I will say for your D1 year, all of your classes, like lecture classes, are going to be in the same room. It's on the first floor, like the ground floor, which is not technically the first floor, but it's like the first floor of the building. And they're pretty much all in the same classroom, so you're not really like worried about going to other rooms. You'll take your exams in a different room, but I received accommodation, so I don't even use that room to begin with. Our CPR class is also taught in that room, or one of those rooms, but for the most part, you're just pretty much going to be on the ground floor in lecture, and then your sim lab is going to be up on the 5th floor in lab B. So that's pretty much the only thing you need to worry about in D1, and then everything else you'll learn kind of afterwards. So I wouldn't stress out about that. The school is pretty nice. They'll kind of give you an overview. And then the third thing is they have a Q&A with the dental students. While you are in the Q&A with the dental students, they'll take people into breakout rooms and interview them. If they don't have it in person, if they have it over Zoom this year. So I'm just talking about my experience. So it might be something different if they have in-person interviews this year. I don't know. But so once we were taken out into breakout rooms, I was interviewed by a faculty and then a student. Everyone that I've spoken to has either gotten 2 people or 1 person to interview them. So it's been different, kind of, I guess, based on where you were in the cycle and like who was available that day. I was interviewed by a student and a faculty member. My faculty member actually contacted me after I got accepted. Not every, like, I will tell you that I think I'm the only person that, not like the only person, like, the students that faculty member helped like accept or chose to be accepted, they emailed us. There's only 2 other people. It was me and then 2 other students in my class who were contacted by our faculty member to meet them. I don't think any other person like spoke to their interviewer after they were accepted, but my interviewer, I haven't been able to meet up with him, but he was great. And I don't really, like, I only had the interview a year ago as my first impression, and it was interesting, but you know, first impressions are a thing. We'll see how it goes when I actually meet up with him, but that's besides the point. So when I met up with my interviewers, they went back and forth between asking me questions and writing down notes, and it was a very casual interview. From what I read online, it was supposed to be like open interview, like they knew facts about me, but when I got there, they didn't know anything about me. It was closed book. I don't even know what the closed file, but they didn't know anything about me. So I feel like they were basing it completely off the interview itself. They asked, so what I did was the SDN. If you look up SDN UMSOD, for example, it'll give you a University of Maryland page on the Student Doctor Network, and it has the interview questions. I would say those are pretty accurate to what I remember. Not completely, but because they did change a few things, but that it gives you a good idea of what to practice for. Maryland, for sure, asks you a diversity question, and they will word it different for each person. The way that they worded it for me was asked slightly different to some of the classmates that I've spoken to about that question. But it's very similar along the lines of, like, you know, how can you contribute to diversity? What does diversity mean to you? Just applied like diversity questions, because Maryland is very diverse culturally. I can't say that it's very diverse in any other way, socioeconomically, disability, LGBTQ friendly, like anything else, but they are very, very great when it comes to cultural diversity. So you know, that's something that if you can talk about maybe something that's separate than your cultural diversity, I think it would really be applicable here. You know, because, well, whatever, but the way that I prepared for interviews and that I'm recommending other people apply for interviews is that, so listen, I only interviewed at just Maryland, so I can only speak about my Maryland experience. So I have no idea how it is to interview at multiple schools. I only interviewed at Maryland, and I got accepted, so I can say that it went well. From what I understand is that the professor who interviewed me and the 2 other students that got accepted interviewed around 60 people. Of those 60 people, he selected 3, and that's who me and my 2 classmates were. So he interviewed a lot of people, and that was just one of the professors. There are 135 people in my class, and there's around over 3,000 people who apply, so the acceptance rate for Maryland is 4%. Just to keep that in mind. Don't let that stress you out, because you just kind of have to go with it. Well, people will get accepted somewhere, especially if you apply to multiple places. And, you know, it's not if you get into dental school, it's when you get into dental school. So some of my classmates actually applied multiple years in a row, and they're now with me, you know, they're my classmates, even though they had to apply multiple years in a row. So just keep that in mind, is that, you know, it's not necessarily, if you don't get accepted this year, that doesn't mean that you're not going to become a dentist or not going to get accepted. Just kind of like keep that in mind. So the other ways that I would explain, or the other things that I would say to prepare for interviews, is to listen to podcasts. I listened to the Dental Download. They had a couple ones about interviewing, but I think just keeping up with current like work in dentistry, and also just get yourself more familiar with the field, it will help you prepare for like the the interview because you'll know a little bit more about the field and can talk about different parts of it and answer the questions in different ways because you're more informed. The other thing that I would say is that I would prepare general questions. Like if you just go to look up dental school questions, or even go to other schools and look at their questions that they have for, their interviews, prepare those questions and get an idea about what you want to say for each. You don't have to memorize anything. I wouldn't recommend memorizing like verbatim, like an answer to a question. Just getting a general idea of what you want to say for each question. And then if they ask you a question that you are not prepared for during the interview, then you have questions that you can relate back to. Like for example, they asked me during my interview, like what motivates me, and I did not prepare for some reason. I didn't prepare for this question. Like, I don't even know if it was like what motivates me, but it was along the lines of like, what motivates you like in a difficult situation or something along those lines, like preparing for the workload of dental school essentially. And I don't know why I didn't prepare for this question, but I then related it back to a question that I did prepare for, which is role models. So I essentially talked about my role models, how they motivate me to get through dental school, like that kind of thing. And that, I want to make them proud and all of the other stuff that comes along with it. So I was able to, even though I didn't have a question for that, which they asked me in the interview, I had another question that I could relate it back to. Also, they know you're nervous, they know all of that, but still try to do your best. So like try to speak clearly, try to think about your answers before you say them, and make sure they're thought through a little bit. Like you can take a little bit of time to think about their questions. But just make sure that when you speak and you give them an answer, that it's a thought through answer. I also highly recommend doing mock interviews because they were helpful. They gave me feedback. They gave me an idea of what they were looking for, and they gave me feedback, and it was really helpful for me to prepare for my interviews. I think I'll post it. I don't remember. I'll post the details in the description, but I'm a interviewer from Maryland. I'm going to interview I volunteered to interview a couple pre-dental students. So if you want to sign up for that, I'll put the description in the below about the details from that. Follow them on Instagram. I think it's through ASDA, but I'm not sure. I'll put the link, or I'll put the description of that below, and you can sign up for that if there's still spots open. But yeah, those are the tips that I have. There are a ton of videos out there that talk more about the interview process. I can say that I was a good interviewer, but I'm not sure about like what advice I can give to other people, especially not now. I'm just kind of like focused on studying and everything like that. Usually I give this more research and thought before I make a video, but I wanted to get this out there sooner rather than later because I know a lot of people are trying to prepare for interviews right now, and I've been receiving a ton of messages. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions specifically about Maryland, although I'm busy, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I do usually reply to all of the messages that I get there, and I don't get notified for the comments that are below my videos, so I have to actually go and check, and I don't go that often to check on the comments on my videos because dental school has been pretty busy. So yeah, but if you message me on Instagram, I can always get back to you, and that's at Thinking in Dental. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'll try to make more content about preparing for dental school and stuff like that, but if I can make it through October, that would be the best. October is the busiest time for our exams and everything, and it's just been a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a lot, but we're gonna get through it as a class. Like me and my class are gonna get through it. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted a little bit, but I'm not gonna be really filming much like dental school like a day in the life of a dental student or what I'm doing on a weekly basis, because there just isn't enough time to really edit the videos or anything. But anyway, good luck on interviewing, you guys. You know, keep what I said in mind, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. And it goes a little something like